Hello, hello, everybody. Looks like we are live. Welcome to Soul Pet. Let me know that you can see and hear me okay. I think everything is connected properly, but let me know that you can see and hear me okay. Hello, hello, everybody. It's great to have you here. Welcome to another Monday night. A beautiful, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, a beautiful, wonderful summer night. 80 degrees and sunny here in the Midwest, and this is my kind of weather. I'm absolutely loving it. So hello, hello, Monday night. Welcome to Soul Pet. This is the channel dedicated to all of us who are on a journey through pet loss. So wherever you happen to be in that journey, whether it's been a day, a week, a year, a lifetime, you are welcome here. We are here to hold you in this space. And together we focus on collectively healing our hearts. And you are welcome here no matter when you are catching this video, whether you're watching live, which hello everybody, it's great to see you guys. We'll say hello in just a minute. Or whether you're watching this five years from now. And if you are watching it 5 years from now, today is July 6th, 2026. And so be sure to put something in the comments about where you're from, when you're watching, because I try to check all comments. And honestly, I get comments, oh, excuse me, I get comments on videos that go years back. So I will be happy to respond and just to tell you that my heart is with you if you're grieving the loss of an animal companion. Okay, so let's do some quick intros here and I'll explain how this works. My name is Elaine. I'm the Animal Reiki Lady. I am an animal Reiki Master, animal chaplain, animal medium. Everything that I do is really focused on the human-animal bond, and that came up so big today as I was working on a couple different things, like the Teotihuacan retreat that we have coming up in October. I was working on so many things today, and it struck me that we have this common connection, ancestral common connection, going back for thousands of years that has to do with the human-animal bond. And that's it, our bond with the animals who share our life. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight as one of the reasons why, I'm going to choke in just a minute, one of the reasons why we grieve so hard is because it may be, there may be a part of our grief that is collective grief, but hang tight. I don't even know how to mute this. Excuse me, it's not like a live stream. So, okay, this is on Monday nights, we get together as a conversation. I generally come up with a topic that I have in mind that I want to share my insights about, the insights that come to me from your animal companions on the other side of life. So right there, you know, there's going to be a little bit of woo-woo here. We're going to get a little hairy-fairy. We go down the rabbit hole. We talk about everything. Nothing's off limits and nothing is judged. So if you have a question, like last week, somebody asked me about aliens out of the clear blue, and I was happy to answer the question because I believe that interspecies communication is much easier and more common than we're aware. But so this is a conversation. I have a topic. You'll see that there's going to be comments scrolling by. Tonight, I'm going to be looking at the comments in particular because I'm going to be asking a couple of questions, but sometimes they get distracting, but this is about conversation. It's about community. It's about us coming together, and we do it every Monday night. So welcome, welcome. First thing we do is say hello to all of our channel members. I know that I saw Sherry here already. Hello, Sherry. It's great to have you here. I got to give a shout out to Robbie Dill. Robbie, who is not an actual channel member, but who shows up every week like a little bit of an icon and always says, "You look 18," and gives all of us a little, he or she has never seen any of us, but gives all of us a nice little boost. So I will say hello to Sherry, and I will say hello to Sharon and Kali. It's great to have you here. Who else do I got? Alana. Hello, hello. I already said Kali, yes. And well, as other people jump on, I will be sure to say hello. Okay, I think that's everybody at the moment for channel members. But as people come on, I will make sure to say hello to them. Usually the two Kathys are here. And everybody, let's give a shout out right now because we miss you. Ms. Nanya New York Business, Cheryl, whose schedule has shifted. At least for the time being. We miss you. We miss talking about the nuns. The nuns are a running joke that we have here ever since I brought up something about Catholic school and nuns, and it always seems to pop up. Okay, so let's see, who else do we have here that I want to say hello to? Sarah, great to see you here. And Jody, also great to have you here. Lady Leoman, Cassie, hello, hello. Look at you guys already saying hello to each other. That's part of the reason why I love this community. And we're going to talk tonight about the importance of community in a little bit different way. and why it's important for us to come together like this, because of the way that it creates a kind of collective healing. But I don't want to jump ahead. Vito Manco, every day it seems like someone is saying goodbye to a beloved pet from either disease or age-related issues. I'm gonna go with the name Vito. So I hope I hope that's correct. And you can always put your name in the comments. I like to say, first of all, I'd like to say hello to everybody. I want everybody to feel welcome in this community. Um, and so it's saying goodbye to a beloved pet from disease or age-related issues. We talk about that a lot on this channel. Now, age-related issues may seem like more natural, but there's something about disease that I think our animals are trying to teach us. And I think it's getting through. Honestly, I do think that we are, as a individuals and as a collective, shifting the way that we handle the health of our animal companions. I mentioned that I'm an animal Reiki master. I started my Reiki journey, which is energy healing, just to short, sweet, to the point. It's much deeper than that, but let's say energy healing, about 12 years ago. And it quickly shifted from the human perspective to animals. And what animals have taught me over the past 10 years in particular is how to be a better companion. And I see that in the comments somewhere. I did see that. Sharon, I think it was you who said that. There's Sherry saying it also. They have taught us how to do things differently, so that even if our animal companion in this present state has transitioned to the other side, they've taught us how to be better, how to be a better companion and a better caregiver and a better partner on the journey with any future animals that come into our life. So while that is the case, and here's the other thing, this also came to me as a realization, not necessarily a point of grief and sadness. How many families have animal companions as part of the family? At least in the US, I know for sure that it's a high number, like 79% of all families have a pet somewhere in the household. And I just think that that's wonderful that we've welcomed animals into our house that way. And especially, we brought this up last week, how courageous it is, because we know we walk into this generally with eyes wide open. We are very well aware that we will usually outlive our animal companions, and yet we bring them into our home anyway. We open our heart and we love them fiercely. And there's a reason for that, but it just, I think it says, when we see all of the doom scrolling news that happens, I don't watch news anymore, but that comes up, we can remember that 79% of all households have an animal in them, and I like to think that that means that they're filled with love. All right, so that was Vito. Who else do I have here that I didn't say hello to? Ellen. Uh, I'm not sure of the name, so I'm sorry that, you know, these YouTube handles, you just can't. So if you want to put your name in the comments, I will be happy to say hello. So I'm going to go with Ellen. Ellen, I don't know if that's right or not. Anyhow, the comment is, hello, I don't feel my dog's presence today. I was vacuuming my basement and found a dog food kernel in an unusual place where his food never was. Not sure if it's a sign. It probably isn't. Let's flip that sentence on its head. It probably is. It probably is. The way that our animals get through to us is, and anybody, you guys jump in with all your comments if you choose to, all of our channel regulars, they will find the thing that gets our attention. And if it was to leave a kernel of food in a place where it wouldn't normally be, it's not necessarily a sign or a message, it's an attention getter. It is your dog saying, hello, I've been trying to get through to you, and so I'm going to leave this piece of food here and just, I'm going to keep on doing it until I get your attention. And then once they have your attention, that's when we can start looking for signs. I haven't done an episode on signs in a long time, so maybe it's time to do that. But for those of you who are unfamiliar, signs can be feathers, angel numbers, clouds, rainbows, lights flickering on and off. There's so many different kinds, but they first want to get your attention. Once they have your attention, then you can start to actually be aware of the signs. Instead of going through your day on default mode, go through actually looking for those signs, and you'll see them. Okay, let's say hello. Who else did I want to say hello to? There was somebody else new. Mary. Okay, Mary, it's great to have you here. Thank you. Do not put a time limit on yourself. So I must have missed a question somewhere. We lost our pup Pepper in 2024 while we were away on vacation. Mary, we've talked about that many times before too. It's okay. Um, I mean, I know it's not okay, but there isn't anything you need to feel guilty about going on vacation about that, because our animals are all on their own journey. We still haven't gotten over losing him. Mary, as Sharon just said, uh, there is no timeline. Don't worry about time. It can be 10 years from now. It can be, you may feel better tomorrow. Even those brief moments of relief. And hopefully if you come back here on Monday nights, we talk about this stuff all the time so that we can normalize it, that we can help each other work through it. And when nobody else understands that 2 years later, you're still grieving, we get it. We understand you. We see you. We embrace you, and we will not judge. And I'm going to kind of go through, I'm not going to kind of pass on the question about how long it's been, like when you were away on vacation. There are some other videos that we talk about the guilt that happens when we're not there. It all came from one of the very first people who I ever worked with, who closed her eyes for just a moment. She was sitting with her dog, closed her eyes for just a moment, and her doggie passed to the other side. And she felt forever guilty about falling asleep at that moment. But our animal companions choose. They have a choice, they have a preference, and they often choose to spare us what they consider to be sparing us. My own Winston, the same way you guys know about Winston. Winston, who I went to work for 2 hours and came home and he had passed. But we'll continue to talk about those things. Tonight, I do want to talk about communal grief, communal love, communal healing, and maybe that'll also give you a respite from the grief. Thank you guys. Look at you all jumping in. This is one of the wonderful, beautiful things about this community is that everybody jumps in with support. So you can feel welcome here to come every Monday. All right, let's see if I think Sherry had some things to say right back at the beginning. Sherry says, when I think of animals that I have lost, even from years ago, I feel the heavy lump in my heart still, as do I. It cropped up last week out of nowhere, just out of nowhere. But it did just unexpectedly hit me as we were talking about grief, and I picked up something of Winston's, and I thought, wow, man, I just want him back. He was my little snuggle bunny, but anywho, yes, it doesn't matter. Once I start the memories of one, it often leads to another lost one. Follow that trail, Sherry. Follow that trail of memories. Maybe it's them all reaching out to you to say, hey, we're all hanging out with you tonight. Why don't you think of all of us? Okay, Sharon. Oh no, there was one more. Sherry. So our hearts, this is where we're going to go tonight, and hopefully I'm going to be able to explain it to you in a way that makes it understandable. So our hearts and the universe links the love and the grief. So if we are all one, which is the concept that even though we're individuals, we are all part of something bigger, and we are all part of the universe. I'm going to say that now, Source, God, Buddha, Allah, whatever you want to call it. We are all extensions of that creator. If that's the case, I can see it. But I just can't wrap my head around it. That's what Sherry says. I'm going to try to help you wrap your head around it tonight, explaining really how this works. And I think you'll get it. I really do think you'll get it. I've had many babies throughout my life, but Benny, this is what Sharon says, definitely taught me how to be a good dog mom. Gotcha. Yeah, wish somehow I could make it up to him. Sharon, every single day, every time you say that, you're making it up to him. And you don't ever have to make it up to him. Ever. He has moved into such a beautiful space of pure positive love, and the powers that they have when they cross to the other side. There's no expectation, desire. They want nothing from us except love. To love them just as they are right now, which is in spirit. They want to be loved for who they are, who they were, who they are now, who they will be in spirit. Just because they don't have their physical body anymore doesn't mean they want us to forget about them or to stop loving them. Not that we could ever forget about them. Let's see what else I got here for comments. Okay, so for tonight, I will see if we can get you to feel that. Let's just see. I said hello to Cassie. One of my Kai's sisters seems to be acting differently. Don't know if I'm being paranoid, but I just have a bad feeling about her. Cassie, I'll tell you, when I get those feelings, I just trust them. If you're feeling the need to take a pet to the vet, absolutely. Share a little Reiki I mean, whatever you're feeling, you're instinctually, I would go with it. And it's not that you're calling anything into existence. You're receiving intuitive insight, and we so often don't trust our intuition. We talked about this last week also, right? You know, you get all of a sudden you have this really strong feeling, man, I really need to turn right. I got to turn right here, but I think I'll go left. We ignore the intuition. So I would say go with your intuition. Please don't be sad. We haven't talked about anticipatory grief in a while, but our animal companions in their physical bodies pick up very, very quickly on our state of mind. So I try to say anticipatory grief is like anticipating the sadness that you're going to feel if you get bad news. Um, I would try to just accept things, see your animal companion as perfect just the way they are. And if you're receiving that insight from them that perhaps there's a little something off, then we do what we can to correct the situation. I had to check on Kai's siblings, including the sister. Okay. All right. I think Cassie that I did, but if I haven't answered your question, I would love for you to just post it again because they're scrolling by and I gotta pop these comments out so that I'm not really distracted. I'm happy to hear someone not call me paranoid. She's 15 though. I'm terrified if I do, then she won't come home like Kai didn't. I do not want to minimize that fear. Fear is a very tricky emotion because when we fear something and then if the worst does come to pass, it leaves us feeling afraid for even more in the future. I have written on my mirror as a reminder, fear is part of the human condition. It goes all the way back to the time of the cavemen, which we're going to talk about tonight. It goes all the way back to the time of survival, when it was all about survival, fight or flight. And that fear is ingrained in us for everything. And if you are somebody who watches the news, I say this without judgment. I say it as a fact, as just a matter of fact. I'm saying it as a matter of fact, that we are programmed for fear. Everything when we turn on any kind of news program, even advertisements and commercials are geared to put us into a state of fear. They want us to be afraid so that we buy a product so that we're not afraid. If we can kind of work our way through that fear, anticipatory grief, instead I look at it through the eyes of compassion. So if I were to wonder, if I were to be having that sneaky feeling that something was wrong with Gypsy, my Gypsy who lives with me right now, something was wrong with Gypsy, and I'm not going to take her to the vet because I don't want to hear that bad news. I can see where that would make sense to you, but I might still take her to the veterinarian if I had that feeling. But just to say that even if I take her there, I'm not going to go through. Set the intention that you are not going to go through what you went before. You are being proactive in her health care. You are being proactive in taking care of her, and it is assisting her with her health and as a senior dog. And that is the way I would look at it. And when you approach it from a place not of fear, but with Reiki, what we do with Reiki is we focus on their perfection in the moment. I don't care if it's a dog or a cat wearing a cone with a bandage, a sling on their arm, or I just look at them as in perfect health, and I say all is well, all is well. And whatever I feel going on, we will find the solution because I know that love heals everything. And I'm getting into a little Reiki lesson here, and because love with a capital L, and not romantic love, and not even, oh, love heals everything. No, love. You turn on your heart light, you crank it up, you allow the love to flow from your heart with every bit of breath that you have, and you focus on their perfection. Okay. We'll get out of the little Reiki lesson there for a minute. Vito. All right. Awesome. I cry every single day, multiple times a day. That is also to be expected, but if it is starting to get in your way, if the grief is starting to get in the way of leading your life, that's the last thing your animal companion would want. They want you to live. They don't want you just to live. They don't want you to just to exist. They want you to go live. So think about that from their perspective. What would they want from you? They would want from you to go out and begin living again. And if you need a little help with that, In the description of the channel, I have a couple links to different people. Dr. Katie Lawler, the pet loss psychologist, is one of them. If you were to go to a site called the Lap of Love, Lap, L-A-P of Love, L-O-V-E, they also have different resources to help you move through the intensity of the grief, because sometimes the grief, okay, I'm just gonna, my analogy is a one in the, it is a really rough one, but it's very suitable. It's like wearing, when you bury yourself in that grief, it's like wearing a giant warm coat of dog crap. It's like putting on this coat that we don't need to be wearing, and it may be nice and warm, but it's, in the end, it's dog crap. So we want to find a way to shed that. We want to find a way to shed that mantle that we may be carrying of grief. Okay. Alana, I have occupational therapy scheduled next to the emergency animal hospital where I take Yoshi for a month, where I had to take Yoshi for a month and a half, and he was sick and passing. Don't know how I'll deal. Advice. Well, I'll tell you, Alana, I don't know that I can give you the exact advice. There is PTSD associated with that, post-traumatic stress. What you experienced was a form of trauma. I'm speaking frankly here, and I know that some of the people watching right now are not familiar with this. Vito, Ellen, when my husband passed in November, it was unexpected, and for a week he was hospitalized. And every day I drove to and from the hospital, sometimes multiple times a day. And now I can't even drive into the town where the hospital was, because it creates, even, I'm going to try not to let my voice, I've more than come to terms with his passing, but it's still, the physical reaction when I get even near that place is overwhelming. Like, turn my car around, I am not going, I don't care. I'm not driving into that town. So what do? I'm not 100% sure of what the right answer is for you, except that to focus on your breath, focus on all is well, all is well. I am safe. I am calm. Yoshi is with me. And I think that is the, hi Gina. I think that's the best approach to it. But and that you're even acknowledging it is a good sign. That you're acknowledging, I acknowledge it. I get it. I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. When I share these things with you, I share with you what I get from my heart and the downloads that I receive from our animal companions on the other side. But hopefully that helps a little bit, is that just to recognize it, focus on your breath, stay focused on your breathing, stay focused on your love, stay focused on Yoshi, and hopefully you get through that okay. Okay, from Colorado, Gina. Man, I can't wait till the day I get back to Colorado. I really, really miss my life in Colorado. Vito says, do you think grief is different for loss at a younger age than an older age? Age of the person or age of the animal companion? Is grief different when we're younger? Yep. I mean, I'm guessing that, I think it's yes for both things, but I'm not 100% sure what your question is. So if you could kind of give me a little bit of clarity on that. Hey, Nico's mama. Hello. It's good to have you here. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, so Kali, thank you for sharing that she goes through the same thing. Social workers close to where Gary passed had an MRI recently, stayed at the same hotel. Oh boy. Oh, please, if you have a suggestion, Kali, please share it. Bring a mug of your favorite drink. I love this. Bring a mug of your favorite drink or snack. Bring something that you love to hold now, like a new shirt or a blanket. And smell you associate with now. Involve all your senses with now things. I love that, Kali. What a great idea. What a great idea. To associate, to bring some now things, your favorite drink. Yeah, I can even think of that. Now as I'm driving down the road, the next time that I do have to go into that town, I'm going to have to give that a try. Holding my favorite mug of coffee. I love the flavored coffee. I love that aroma. Go with that. Have something that I'm really fond of. You know, I'm going to show you something that I just got recently. I love crystals. I mean, I just love crystals. And this one, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, the way that it glows blue. I can't think of the name of it off. Labradorite. I think that's what it is. Labradorite. But, and bring that with me, because I just love the way that it looks. I love the way that it feels. Hold something in your hand as you're going through that. to that place. Oh yeah, you can see it. My video is behind you guys. My video is like on a 30-second delay, so I see everything after I do it, which is really distracting. So which is why I normally pop the comments out so that I can't see that about the chat. Okay, there we go. Let's see if there's anything else. That's a PTSD method for dealing with flashbacks. Thank you, Kali. Appreciate that. Beautiful crystal. Thanks, Sharon. Yeah, I just love my crystals. Okay, let's get on with the topic for tonight. So the topic for tonight is about when we lose one animal companion, we grieve them all. And I want to give you a little bit of background about how this came to me today, the work that I was doing. For you, the channel members, most of you know, I am planning a retreat. It's a women's retreat to Teotihuacan in Mexico. It's the pyramids of Mexico. I have never run a retreat before. The reason that I'm doing it is because I went there. I might as well just give you this background. I went there in March, and it was such a spiritual awakening for me. And for anybody who's on that journey, who's on that road of like you feel yourself being open to all these new spiritual things. I've been on this road for quite some time, but I went to this retreat and wow, this was a retreat that I went to back in March, and I literally, my socks were blown off. I was so, I had no idea what to expect, and I didn't expect that all kinds of things would open for me. All kinds of insight, all kinds of connection, all kinds of, I mean, when I think about Teotihuacan, and we're going to talk about animals because everything I do has to do with the human-animal bond, it was huge with ancient civilizations. And when I got to go inside these temples, when I got to step my bare feet on the stones where ancients walked, when we walked into the caverns, it was so powerful that when I was done, I knew that I had to bring other people back with me to experience the same thing. We are going to have a shaman who takes us on this beautiful journey through the caverns. There's so much. But as I'm sitting there planning this today, one of the things that came up was about this. I will show you this little this is artwork. The woman who runs the villa where we're holding the retreat, where I'm going to hold the retreat, is an artist, and she did a whole deck. She drew a whole deck of oracle cards. Sometimes we use oracle cards here on this channel to get messages from our animal companions, but this particular one is an ancient dog, and I'm going to try to say the name of the dog correctly. I'm going to have a post about it tomorrow. Sholo eats quaintly. I think that's what it is. But this beautiful dog in the Aztec and Mayan tradition was a guardian. Not just a guardian, was a spirit guide, a guide, that's the word I'm looking for. A guide that would help your own soul transition from the physical into the non-physical. A beautiful little dog would show up for you to take you to the other side. So that came up today as I'm putting together some of the materials that I'm going to be sharing about Teotihuacan. And it just made me think, wow, they have now, archaeologists and those who study these things, I'm not an archaeologist, even though I always wanted to be. Anybody else with me on that? Archaeologist, marine biologist, oceanographer. I wanted to be all of those things wrapped up in one. If there could be one job that would have been the one that I wanted. But they are determining, the more and more they study these ancient sites, there's a reason why I'm sharing all this. The more and more they study these ancient sites, they're realizing that the age of them goes back thousands of years. So when we first thought it was the Aztecs who built Teotihuacan, it was not. They found Teotihuacan. And the more dating they do, the more testing they do, the more things they discover, the further they dig, the more they realize it's probably 10 to 12,000 years old, at least, that it could be even longer than that. So it got me to thinking that if that's how long it's been that people have been honoring dogs, we'll talk about cats too, there's something deep within us that goes back to the dawn of time that has to do with our human-animal bond. And then as I'm thinking about that, a little podcast comes on about remote viewing. If you've never heard of remote viewing, I'm going to explain to you just briefly what it is. You may have heard of it before. Remote viewing is where formally the U.S. government took part in it. the government, like the CIA kind of thing, because they wanted to see if people could be clairvoyant. We've talked about clairvoyance on the channel before, and that this is where we get a little hairy fairy, hippy dippy, but I always try to keep it real. I always try to pull it back in, out of the ether and into what's practical for us. Clairvoyance simply means clear sight. And they wanted to know if they could train someone to be able to go into a state of consciousness, to quiet their mind, go into a state of altered state of consciousness where they could see behind a closed door, or they could see a location that was off limits to us, like in Siberia or someplace. And it was a whole program that went on in the last century. And I think it still continues today, but neither here nor there. So it was about how to see what they called a target. We're going to get there, don't worry. And what we've discovered is that we can actually all do this. A clairvoyant is someone who might, just like a pianist or a violinist or a soccer player, we may have some people who are really, really, really good at it, but we all have the ability to kick a ball. And we all have the ability to tap into sight beyond our eyes, to trust our intuition, to go with, for lack of a better term, psychic intuition, using our extrasensory, I love that word better, that phrase better, using extrasensory perceptions in order to see something that was not in the same space as us. And what this podcast went on to share, and don't worry, I'm not going to try to convince you to believe this, it's just something that you would have to experience for yourself, is that there's no such thing as distance. When they asked one of the people who was really good at it, this person said, because I just picture it in my mind, knowing that there's no such thing as distance really. We're the ones who draw lines around everything. We're the ones who say that something is in one country versus another country. If we were to close our mind and access the information that floats all around us, if we are all made of information, think about the movie The Matrix. If it's all made of information, then when we learn to harness the power of our mind, we can see across distance, because there is no across distance. We can almost like kind of pull it right into where we are. And that's how this particular person worked with it. The example that they gave as proof was the game of Pong. So you guys, I shared this with some of you earlier this week. Sharon, I know you were in on that. Jody, you were also. The game of Pong, dating myself, when it was like back in the 70s, like the early 70s, I want to say like 1972, the game of Pong came out and everybody was playing Pong. Everybody was playing Pong. It was just this little ball that went back and forth across the screen, and you moved the little cursor to make the paddle so that you could hit the ball, and you could just watch this ball go back and forth, and you could play one person, you could play two people, but everybody was playing Pong. Fast forward to 2022, I think it was 2022, I might have the year wrong, doesn't matter. Scientists have discovered how we can take a neuron, so a brain cell, from a person's brain, and they placed two of them in a dish. And they were trying to replicate an experiment. They put a brain cell, a neuron in one petri dish, a neuron in the other petri dish, hooked them up to a chip. I'm not the scientist, so I can't explain to you. You'd have to go look up, you can look up the Pong experiment. They hooked the neurons up to a computer chip to play Pong. They wanted to see if they could teach the neurons how to play Pong, like it's an easy game that they could try to train brain cells. It was about neuroplasticity. They already knew. The brain cells already had in their little memory how to play Pong. And the scientists their mind was blown. And the more they played, the two little brain cells, the more they played Pong, the better they got. Within 72 hours, they were playing Pong. And the conclusion was that our brains are collectively connected. In the metaphysical spiritual world, it's called the Akashic Records. In the scientific world, it's called the quantum field. You can call it anything you want. You can call it it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's there. It's this field of intelligence that flows. We're part of it. It doesn't just flow we're not just flowing through it. It is us. We are all part of it. And our brains are like the tool. It's like the master tool that keeps us connected to this field of information. Think about a time when you instinctively knew something, when you walk into a room and you can sense the tension, when you, or all of a sudden you had a premonition. You have no idea where the premonition came from. It's because we're all connected to this field. So it got me to thinking, is it possible? I'm just looking at my notes here as I as I share this. It all just started to make a connection for me. Teotihuacan, the ancient dogs, and in Teotihuacan, street dogs they're not revered, but they're honored. Like people just randomly feed them, bring them water bowls. They love the tourists at Teotihuacan. But they're free. The dogs are just free to roam. But it got me to thinking about, is it possible that the human animal bond is so strong that when we lose our animal companion, so for I think it was Ellen who said she's been grieving for 2 years, is it possible that the depth of our grief is compounded by the fact that we are remembering a communal cultural grief? Because of all of the households that do have animal companions, and all of us, and I think that might have been Victor who commented, it seems like everybody, Vito, it seems like everybody is losing an animal companion. That collective grief is building in this quantum field of information. But it's not all bad. So we might think, oh, are we destined then to be constantly sad? No, because the collective love is stronger. When you think about this, the collective love is stronger. So here's, well, hang on, I'm just going to get to my next page. Oh, I don't want to get to the ancients yet because I do want to talk about the ancients, but think about this. Long before there were dog breeds, long before we called them pets, long before we had them wear collars, long before we had catnip to play with them, long before all of that, we were companions to animals. And just to give you a little taste of it, because I want to lead you through a little guided meditation in a minute. Can you imagine? Can you imagine like being the Neanderthal who was sitting by a fire the first time that a wolf stepped up without intending harm, stepped up for mutual companionship? I can only imagine what that felt like. I think about the movie Dances with Wolves when the main character, the Kevin Costner character, is feeding a small piece of bacon, I think it is, some kind of cured meat, to the wolf, and the relationship that develops from there. So can you imagine what it must have been like? But ancient, it does go back ancient. So we have cats in Egypt, dogs in the Mesoamerican cultures. So the Aztec, the Mayan, the Toltec, the Olmec, they had a deep respect for dogs. The cats in Egypt, the first cat in Egypt actually, no, it was Africa, I believe, was where the first cat, this is so interesting as I did my little homework for this. The cat self-domesticated. Anybody who's a cat person, you probably know this, right? Our cats are so aware and so self-aware, that it doesn't surprise me at all that cats self-domesticated. Like they took it upon themselves to come in from the wild, and they wanted the mice. They wanted the rodents that were always around the human encampment. So cats self-domesticated. I think that's amazing. It just makes me laugh about cats. Oh, the other thing about cats, I love this too. Dogs love people, cats love you. That was the other thing that came up in my little research about cats, that dogs are, like when we say we're a dog person, dogs are generally like dog people. They're people dogs. They just love people so much. They want to be around people. They love people. But cats really could, in general, have very little, if anything, perhaps disdain. Tolerance is the word. They might tolerate people. But when a cat comes into your home, when a cat chooses you, you've been chosen because they love you and they want to be with you and they want to be on this journey with you. So I just found that fascinating also. Okay, I am going to check this I am going to just check all the comments here real quick before I go on to this, because I want to tell about the community, about why the importance of community is, and I want to see if there's any questions about what I explained about how our brains work and how they're connected. Because I think that's an important part of the message, is that if we have been loving animals for so long, 10,000 years, and we don't know what existed before 12,000 years ago. There was an ice age. We don't know what existed before then. I think we're slowly starting to discover it. I think the universe is revealing secrets to us as we are becoming more aware and more awake and more willing to accept that things aren't necessarily the way that we were taught and that are written in the history books. That if we have been loving animals for, let's go with 10,000 years, for 10,000 years, and animals, we outlive them. We've been going through this cycle of love and loss and love and loss and love and loss for eons. And has it become ingrained in our culture? Just like if you were to say Eiffel Tower, you know what that is. Everybody knows what the Eiffel Tower is. If you were to say outer space, we all have a concept of things. We have a general collective idea about certain things, and I suspect that the love of our animal companions is right up there, is perhaps the strongest of all. Why is it? Why is it that we love our animals more than sometimes the human companions in our life? We know about unconditional love. Absolutely. Their love is always unconditional. They don't care what we did, they don't care about whatever little stupid thing we did, feelings we heard, none of it. They just want to love us and be loved in return. And I think that love is the thing that ties everything together, going back for eons. So that when our animal companion crosses, not only do we miss their physical connection. Sorry, a bird just landed on my windowsill, a little cutie pie. Not only do we miss their physical connection, not only do we miss their companionship, we miss their unconditional love. We miss, on a collective level, everything that any person has ever felt about their animal companion. We feel that without even knowing it. We don't know it, we don't tap into it consciously, but now that we do know it, can we shift that in some way? Because this is where we're going to get into the community piece of it. If we can bring about cultural, community, collective healing, when we think about how we are going to let our hearts be put back together again, not just have them, we've talked about this before too, the Japanese artwork where if a pottery has broken in shards, they glue it back together with gold so that it becomes even better and more precious than it was before it broke. And if we can think about that when our hearts are shattered in a million pieces after the loss of an animal companion, and we can learn how to put our hearts back together with ribbons of gold, and our heart becomes something even more precious and more valuable than it was before our animal companion crossed. Think about the universal heart. It's as if if the universe has ever felt a broken heart, we're helping it to heal. Not just helping it to heal, we are creating something brand new, a deeper, more profound love than it's ever felt before, that we have ever felt before. I think that's the kind of power we have. So if you want me to go down the rabbit hole, which I most certainly can, about our connection with animals, because animals are the thing that lit me up, that light me up. Animals are the thing that opened the door. You guys know Lucy. The night that Lucy crossed, she threw the door wide open for my connection to animals on the other side. Up until that moment, I had no idea how deeply connected we all were and how easy it was to restore that connection with our animal companions. And when you realize, you guys who are my regulars, right? Kali and Sherry and Sharon and Jody and all of my regulars. And did I not say, I don't think I said hello to you. You guys know this, but for Vito and Ellen and Mary, when we realize that they haven't left us, that they are still connected to us on the deepest level, that not only are, it's not a metaphor. It's not, oh, it's so nice. They're still with you, honey. Dearest, they're still with you. No, they are still with you. Their energy shifts from the physical to the non-physical. They are now in an energetic space, literally in spirit. They see you, hear you. They hear every single word you say. They know every tear that you shed. They know every thought that you have. So once you realize that you're still that deeply connected, it changes everything. It changes everything because you'll still feel the grief like I did with Winston last week when I just got this lump in my throat out of nowhere. You'll still feel that, but something will have changed for you because you'll know that when you feel that little brush against your leg, that it's not your imagination. When you feel that little pounce on the bed, that it's not your imagination. When their name comes up in a song, when you dream of them, you will realize that it's not just your imagination. It is them reaching out to you in the only way that they can now, which is through non-physical means. And they will do anything in their power to get your attention. And when they do that, notice it. Write down the date, write down the dream, write down the thing. Even if you say, yeah, but was it really? As soon as you ask that question, then you know the answer is yeah. Yes, it was. It absolutely was. So I think when we take the first step toward healing our own heart, and it's baby steps. And so what if you take 2 steps back the next day? It doesn't matter. When we take a step forward in healing our heart, we are taking a huge step forward for the collective as a whole. And then if we're going to go all the way there, then this idea of death no longer becomes something that we have to fear. I said it. The idea of death no longer becomes something that we have to fear because we don't lose them. They don't disappear. They don't go anywhere. They're not off waiting on a cloud somewhere for us to die too. There's nothing to be afraid of. And we can let go of that fear when we realize that we're still connected. So, and when we can let go of that fear, then as a group, can we release that fear? And then hearts begin to heal. People begin to wake up. They begin to look at things a little differently. Maybe they go down the rabbit hole like I do. But in the end, it just leads to a greater sense of love and healing across the planet. And I would say across dimensions, because we're talking about ancient connection all the way back to Neanderthal man and the first wolf. All right, let me check the comments real quick here. I keep forgetting the grief you're dealing with every day. I'm so sorry, Miss Elaine. Oh, Cassie, thank you. And I do, somebody else also said, also gave me their condolences. My husband and I are closer now, I swear, than we were even in the physical, because I talk to him every day and I know what he's doing and I'm totally cool with it. And we can go for days at a time where I don't feel that connection. That's, I guess I want to share that too. Don't worry if you go for days at a time and you don't think that you feel anything. It doesn't mean that they're not there. I trust that my hubby, he wanted to fly jets. If he could have done anything in the whole wide world, it would have been to fly jets. So on the days when I don't feel him, like really close by, I always say to him, I hope you're having fun. I hope you're up there. And the next time that I see a fighter jet, I want to see the wings waggle back and forth because I want to know that it's you up there enjoying your life as a fighter jet pilot. And I trust that our animal companions do the same thing. I'll share this last little story about Winston, then I went into our meditation. Winston, when Winston crossed, and it was unexpected, even though he was senior, and I knew in my logical mind that it was going to be time for him soon, that it happened so while I was away for 2 hours at work it was completely unexpected, totally unexpected. Where was I going with that? Oh, so I did a meditation. I sat down in the depth of my grief and I know I've been forgiven, and I blamed my husband. I didn't blame him, but he was having lunch. He was sitting when I walked in from work, he was sitting in his recliner with a plate full of nachos, and Winston was lying on the floor having passed to the other side. And I went ballistic because sometimes that was the only way I knew how to, that was the way I expressed my grief was to scream. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I did the meditation. I sat down because I didn't like the emotions going through my mind. I went into a deep meditation and I asked Winston why. And his answer to me was because it was only a week after Lucy passed. Because he said, I saw how easy it was for Lucy to cross, and so I went. And how could I not accept that answer? that he saw how easy it was for her to go, and he knew it was his time, and so he crossed. And then I asked him where he was because I hadn't felt him. And I got a clear picture that he was with a little girl. And for those of you who don't know, Winston was abandoned, and he was abandoned on my property at the top of a mountain. They just dumped him, whoever it was. And I got the sense that he was back with his little girl, that the little girl was so devastated at what the adults in her family did, and that he had to go back and comfort her. And so again, I would not ever deny him that. I would not ever deny that to that little girl. So I don't know where all that came from. All right, because I was reading comments about one thing or another. Okay. Let me see if there are any other Mr. Animal Regulators out flying around as a bird of prey. Oh yeah, Collie, he's doing that too. There was a pair of osprey out here the other day. I didn't post any of these pictures. I've been so focused on other things, but yes, he is a bird of prey 100%. That's the other thing that my husband loves to do, fly as an eagle, or in this case, it was osprey. Two osprey who didn't belong here. They don't belong inland Wisconsin. It was beautiful, but Winston, Lucy, Phoebe, Yoshi, Kai, Pockets, Mew Mew. Yeah, where's he tonight? Now that you mentioned Pocket's name, I didn't see Z hop on. Mew Mew, that is Nunya's, Cheryl's dog, cat. You're allowed to emote, you're human. Thank you very much, Collie, that's so sweet. Okay. Isn't it weird that I was going to say women, but I don't know that it's just women have such a hard time accepting compliments. But thank you very much, I appreciate that. All right, let's do this. Let's do this little exercise. It's just a very brief little meditation. You don't even have to call it a meditation. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes if you can, but of course, if you're driving or operating heavy machinery, please come back to this meditation. But wherever you are, we're going to try to do this. We are going to do this beautiful little meditation designed to help the collective, designed to help our beautiful collective consciousness on the path to healing, so that anyone who may be experiencing grief, even if you're watching this live stream years from now, you can listen to this meditation and feel a little gold ribbon being woven through your heart to help put it back together. All right, so if you are someplace where you can close your eyes, and my eyes naturally close, I'm going to take a drink of water. I generally have no idea. I look for inspiration from all of our beautiful animal companions. I have no idea the details of what I'm going to say, but here we go. So we begin by focusing on our breath. When we breathe in, we take in a nice deep breath, and you can breathe at your own pace. You don't need to breathe in any special way. Just breathe in nice and deep. Allow your body to enjoy the breath. Breathing it in and breathing it out. And one thing you might want to try is to breathe in, and when you exhale, just exhale a little bit longer than you inhaled. So if you wanted to count to 3, breathe in. And as you exhale, count to 4 or 5 or 6. And when the exhale is longer than the inhale, it calms our nervous system. We go from that state of stressed and fight or flight into a place of calm, and it's peaceful here, and it's relaxed. In fact, I want you just to let the chair hold you up. If you're sitting in a chair, just let that hold you up. And breathing at your own pace, focused on relaxation and calm and peace. And this creates a beautiful state that we call coherence. And coherence means that your brain turns off from all the external stressors that you have in your life, that we all have in our life. And we allow our heart, our brain, our body to just be in unison. And it's a feeling of balance and harmony. And we set the intention that nothing is more important at this moment in time than our focus on our heart, on our love, on our animal companion. But now I want to take you on a little journey. So as you're breathing, and maybe you can visualize this, maybe you'll see something on the screen of your mind, or maybe you'll just listen to my words and follow the story. I want you to imagine what it would feel like to be sitting at an ancient campfire. It is 10,000 years ago. There are no city lights. The only light in the sky is stars, and there are so many stars. As you look up and gaze at the sky and you see the silhouette of the trees, and you look at those stars and you wonder, what are those? Look at all of those little beautiful points of light, brilliant points of light all over the night sky. And you gaze back at the fire and imagine what you might look like, imagine what you might be feeling. But you gaze back at the fire, almost mesmerized by the flame, by the flicker, by the sound of the crackling wood. And you feel the warmth. And there could even be a cool breeze. And as you sit there, you notice a pair of glowing eyes on the opposite side of the fire. On the other side of the fire, and at first, you're on alert. But you realize that you sense questioning. You sense connection. You sense a desire to be together. And out of the darkness steps that beautiful creature. And you look and you don't feel fear at all. Just the opposite. That wolf that stepped out of the darkness and into the firelight looks at you questioningly, with a little sense of trepidation of his own, uncertain, not knowing what to do, not knowing if he'll be chased off or hurt. And so you make that first gesture with your eyes, with your hands. You welcome that wolf. And you're probably sitting across from each other. You haven't gained the trust yet to wrap each other in your arms, but you sit in quiet companionship, and you realize that you can trust the wolf, and the wolf realizes that he can trust you. And you sit there in quiet companionship. Now feel yourself moving forward a little bit further. We're moving forward a little bit further in this beautiful ancient time. And now we are in Egypt. We floated right over to the beautiful city of Egypt. Can you imagine what the pyramids must have looked like back in the day? How beautiful everything must have been. And there's a cat who chooses, who makes a choice to step forward and present herself to you. And she looks at you and she walks right up to you without fear, without trepidation, with complete trust. And she says in her mind, I love you. I'm here for you. You are here for me. All animals. Can you imagine receiving a message like that from an animal? Telling you that all animals, including humans, are here together. We are on a beautiful journey together. We come together to support each other, love each other, hold each other, share the journey. Because life can be hard. Man, life can be hard. But when we have an animal companion to share it with us, think of the wolf, think of the cat, bird, horse, it does not matter, bearded dragon, every single animal that has ever stepped forward from 10,000 years ago to the present has told us that they are here to share the journey. They are here to help carry the burden. They are here to help make it easier for us. And then to know that we have willingly opened our heart. We have accepted the responsibility. We have accepted that their lives are shorter than ours, but we honor it. We love them anyway. And so we take this moment as we think of every animal that has ever shared any home ever, whether it's a thatched roof or a city apartment. Every single animal that has ever shared anyone's home has come together tonight and presented to you a beautiful golden thread. And they are asking you to take that thread and just to let it touch your heart. Let it begin to weave back together the pieces of your heart. And you'll need more threads. And you'll need more times when you can sit down with your animal companion and ask them to help you heal. And they will happily do it because we are healing each other. We come together as a community in this beautiful spirit of love and support and togetherness, and we hold each other up. And not only are we holding each other up, but our animal companions are holding us up as well. And when we do this, we heal. And when we heal, we can love again. And when we can love again, the heart grows bigger and better and stronger than it ever was. And now bring your focus back to the moment. Bring your focus back to your body. Shed a little tear there. Take a nice deep breath. Stretch, roll your shoulders, do whatever you need to bring yourself back to the present moment. I also like to say when we do these kinds of things, just look around your room and fixate on something concrete, because sometimes, like, I could still feel myself floating in the foreverness. Look at something solid, look at a light, bring your glass of water, take a little drink. Bring yourself back to the moment and know that what you have done is to help another person heal. Somebody who you may have never met, someone who may not even be alive now that may have lived 10,000 years ago. You may be helping someone who's watching this video 10 years from now. You're helping them heal, and you are so appreciated. All right, my friends. I'm just going to check a last quick Luna the Bunny. Oh, Christina, I'm going to guess that is. I'm going to guess that name is. They were created to bring love and joy. Yes, absolutely. Yep. Since the dawn of time, animals were brought here for a reason. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed that. I love you so much for sharing this time with me. Yeah, I'm crying also, guys. When I feel it's the most unusual sensation. Like, I feel words coming out of my mouth at the same time that I feel that I'm taking part in the meditation. But okay, I love you guys. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Thank you for coming together and holding each other in support. You are all very loved. I will see you next Monday. And until then, may animals light your way. Take care, everybody.